Hello, guys. Happy Monday to you. I am so excited to be here with you today. For those who I have not met, my name is Dylan Miller, and I am really passionate about helping people to become the best versions of themselves. So, what does this mean? This means really recognizing the power that you have over yourself and over your body, around your mind, about the way we think, about the way we act, about the way we let other people impact us. And I'm here to empower you a little bit to think proactively, to really cut yourself out of that reactive lifestyle. And the topic we're going to cover today is talking specifically about arthritis. So last week we talked about autoimmune disease. Next week we're talking about cancer. This week this week is specifically about arthritis. And I mean, which has a lot of the same benefits as if you were to look into being proactive around autoimmune disease as well as cancer. And then the week after that is diabetes. So it's all healthcare this month. I'm so excited. But excited more for you because I really want to teach you that it's not one thing, right? So we live in a culture right now where it's, well, give me my magic pill to make the symptoms go away, right? I'm not here to give you a magic pill, right? You probably have done the whole magic pill, and maybe now for you, the magic pill isn't working anymore, right? Maybe for you, you had some really adverse side effects to your magic pill and really don't want to be on it anymore. So we're going to talk about lifestyle, right? Because it's not a one size fits all, right? You're not Cinderella, and I'm not here to kind of, turn your life into a pumpkin. So I'm really just motivated to help you achieve better health and wellness using natural, holistic techniques, right? So we're going to look at the whole body and things that you can do to support your body through arthritis. Hey, Marlene, who else is on with me? So excited you guys are here. So before we start and discuss some of the management techniques, let's talk about conditions and symptoms of arthritis. Okay, so maybe you're watching right now because someone else in your family has been diagnosed with arthritis, or you feel like it's something that is in their life, and maybe they haven't had a diagnosis. And this one hits really close to home for me. My mom has had arthritis. She got a really rare lung disease. I was 12. She was only 39. And the closer I get to 39, the more I realize, how debilitating this disease can be. But she got a really rare lung disease, and it came with rheumatoid arthritis throughout her entire body. So we're going to talk about some different types of arthritis, but I'm going to tell you some of the wins that she has had. And Mom, if you're tuning in, feel free to pipe in with your own stories, but it's been unreal to watch her. But arthritis, it's not a single disease. Okay, but a term referring to various conditions of joint pain and joint disease. Okay, so similarly to when people get diagnosed with things like IBS, irritable bowel syndrome, or arthritis, there's different variations to it. Okay, so it's very broad. Arthritis affects people of all ages, genders, races, and is the leading cause of disability in North America, as well as more than 50 million adults and 300,000 children have some sort of arthritis. Okay, that's craziness. So there is actually over 100 different types of arthritis and related conditions. The most common types that you would hear are osteoarthritis, rheumatoid arthritis, psoriatic arthritis, fibromyalgia, gout, and lupus. Okay, so these are the most common, I guess. So those are the ones that I want to talk about first, so that you can kind of identify which one you need to kind of pinpoint on. Hey, Denise, happy you're here too. So let's start with osteoarthritis. So osteoarthritis is also called degenerative arthritis and is the most common form of arthritis. So this is where, cartilage is a firm, slippery tissue that supports smooth joint motion, okay? So osteoarthritis occurs when the protective cartilage on the ends of the bones actually wears down over time, leaving the bone rubbing on bone. So osteoarthritis can obviously damage any joint in the body. So your shoulders, your elbows, your knees, all of those joints. However, joints in the hands, knees, hips, and spine are the ones that are most frequently affected. So common symptoms which develop over a long period of time. If you have osteoarthritis, you would experience pain in the joint during movement, obviously if you're moving your fingers or your knees, joint tenderness when pressure is applied, stiffness following periods of inactivity, loss of range of motion, grating sensation with use of the joint, and bone spurs can form around the affected joint as well. So these are things that might occur. And I mean, it's not a one-time occurrence. It's, every time that it's consistent, okay? Obviously, if you've bone rubbing on bone, you're going to feel that every single time. So common risk factors of this, obviously, just like with a lot of things with our body, it increases with age. Women are actually more likely to develop this condition than men, and carrying extra body weight, obviously putting stress on your joints, this will cause it. Sports injuries and certain occupations and repetitive stress on the joint will also cause this as well. So that is osteoarthritis. And this pain it's commonly associated with the loss of cartilage causing the bone to rub against the bone. So however, there are other conditions which also may cause pain. So just because you're having pain doesn't mean that, you're having osteoarthritis. And I want you to be really careful not to, we're really quick to self-diagnose. Or even if you've received a diagnosis from a physician, or maybe not a physician, a professional, whether it's a physio or an occupational therapist or, massage therapist or chiropractor, whatever, it doesn't matter. Receiving the diagnosis means that you now something's happened, right? It's cause and effect. Now, what are you going to do about it? Or if you know somebody with this, and I know for me, I mean, I don't have arthritis, but watching somebody with it, I'm so determined that I'm going to do everything in my power to not develop it, right? So again, thinking proactive with your health. This is, I know many of you are going to be watching this, and you're saying, I wish I would have, had I known now what had I known then what I know now, I would have done stuff differently, right? I think we all can say that about a lot of things in our life. But I really this is where I feel like this work is so important, right? It's really helping people to do the things in their life that they need to do prior to getting these sorts of diagnosis, right? But it doesn't mean that it's your forever diagnosis, right? So, and how can you do things to not let it define you and what you can do? So, bone microfractures can actually occur when the cartilage is not around the joint, right? So when stress is being put, you're going to get tiny like bone bruises and fractures when you have that bone rubbing on bone. So, I mean, there's things that can become more permanent, but you can help to lessen some of the symptoms as well. bone spurs, which are just small bony growths that can occur on the sides of the joints. Those can occur. Joints they're actually lined with a membrane or a liquid, which is it's called synovial fluid, to help the joints move smoothly. So when the lining becomes inflamed or too much fluid can actually build up, and that's not good either, right? So our bones are meant to, uno minuto, my dog wants it. Here you go, bud. All right. Kids, I tell you. So this is obviously going to cause joint pain as well. So inflammation is, like we talked about last week, it's good in your body because it's built to protect it, but at the same time, you need to be aware of, there's good inflammation and bad inflammation. And then you obviously have ligaments, which are the bands of tissue connecting the bones together. And they can become damaged as well with things like osteoarthritis. So, so knowing that if you're, newly diagnosed, if you're feeling any sort of pain, how can you get ahead of it before you get all of these other side effects, right? Or before you need to go on just even some of the medications, just like with anything, right? Are they doing more harm than good, right? So if you can get to it before you need to go on, medications that are then, having to be processed by your liver and your kidneys and all those sorts of things, right? So again, getting ahead of it. Enough said about that. The next one I'm going to talk about is rheumatoid arthritis. So rheumatoid arthritis is an autoimmune disorder, and where the immune system, like we talked about last week, so the immune system mistakenly attacks the healthy tissue, causing chronic inflammation. So I know when I said with my mom, she was diagnosed with a rare pneumonia. It was an autoimmune disease. And when her body was fighting that, it attacked the good tissue as well. And so she's had this, swelling in her joint lining, for, I guess it's been over 20 years now. But the actual cause of rheumatoid arthritis is still unknown. So even though there's so many people that have it, like many autoimmune diseases, like we talked about last week, it's unknown actually to what specifically causes it. Genetics is thought to play a part, although genes don't actually cause the disease. Genes can make you more susceptible to environmental factors, such as infection with certain viruses and bacteria that may trigger the disease, but it's not actually causing it, okay? The disease typically starts in small joints, such as your fingers, your toes, and then it will progress to things like your wrists, your knees, your ankles, your elbows, your hips, your shoulders. Symptoms generally occur in the same joints on both sides of the body. And you'll see things like, tender, warm, swollen joints, joint stiffness that is usually worse in the mornings after inactivity, fatigue, fever, weight loss. Things to really keep in mind with this, again, women are more likely to develop this condition than men. It can occur at any age, but most common between the ages of 40 and 60. Family history can increase your risk, again, not to get it, but to expose you to the environmental factors. Smoking increases the risk and disease severity, just like with anything. Environmental exposure to things like asbestos may cause increased risk, and obesity increases the risk as well. And because we have so much obesity in our culture, this is also where we're seeing so much arthritis. So Denise is saying, I was diagnosed young with rheumatoid arthritis due to being born with 2 holes in my heart. Both my kids have heart issues as well, worried that they may get this too. So far, they keep my daughter just as growing pains. Yeah, her pain happens often through the day, night, and during bad weather. Okay, we will touch on that, Denise. Absolutely. So I want to talk about psoriatic arthritis. This is, again, autoimmune inflammatory disease that affects some people who have psoriasis. The abnormal immune response leads to inflammation in the joints, in addition to overproduction of skin cells. So this is where your skin will actually become inflamed, and rough and itchy and scaly. Genetic and environmental factors play a role in the development of the condition, as well as certain genetic markers have been identified with and associated with psoriatic arthritis. So a viral or bacterial infection may actually trigger this type of arthritis in people with the inherited tendency. So symptoms can worsen over time, with alternating periods when symptoms go into remission and then worsen. And symptoms are often resembling of rheumatoid arthritis, but can affect kind of on both sides, just like, one side of the body, just with arthritis. Say you get it on both hands or both elbows. So psoriatic arthritis is more likely to cause things like swollen fingers, toes, foot pain, lower back pain. And common risk factors would be having psoriasis, family history, and age. Most often this occurs in people between 30 and 50. So it's important to recognize that, and we've done entire classes on skin conditions as well, and recognizing where things like psoriasis come from as well. So when we talk about ways to improve your overall well-being and things that you can do in order to manage your symptoms naturally for arthritis, help your body heal itself so that you don't have these arthritic issues anymore. This is also the same sort of stuff that's going to help clear up things like skin conditions, psoriasis, eczema, respiratory issues, asthma, chronic pneumonia, those sorts of things. So this is the information we're talking about here. When you may start doing it for your arthritis, but it is going to be a game changer for so many other things in your life. Next, let's talk about fibromyalgia. So fibro is considered a central pain syndrome. So this means that the brain and the spinal cord process pain signals differently, okay? So researchers propose that fibromyalgia magnifies pain sensations by affecting the way our brain processes pain signals. So other symptoms common among people that are suffering with fibromyalgia include tension headaches, joint disorders, irritable bowel syndrome, anxiety, depression, because of that constant overstimulus of pain. Symptoms can, gradually accumulate have a triggering event such as physical trauma, surgery, infection, significant psychological stress. Okay, so you can actually trigger, because it's triggered by your brain. If you are having any other sort of trauma, mind, body, spirit, it can actually trigger this pain within your body. Symptoms include a wide spread of pain, such as constant ache that lasts for months at a time on both sides of the body, and both below and above the waist. You'll see things like fatigue is a major symptom, just feeling tired even after a long sleep period, cognitive difficulties, or just even having trouble focusing or paying attention when doing other mental tasks. So keep in mind, Again, this affects more women than men. There's a higher risk when there's a family history, and other disorders such as osteoarthritis, rheumatoid arthritis, or lupus can then increase the risk of you also having rheumatoid arthritis. Next, let's talk about gout. Gout is a common and complex form of arthritis, but it does not cause body-wide inflammation. Gout can be characterized by sudden severe attacks of pain, swelling, redness, and tenderness in the joints, most often the joint at the base of the big toe, okay? Random spot, right, to have it. But gout results from an accumulation of the urate crystals when the body produces too much uric acid and cannot remove the excess fast enough. So uric acid is a product from the breakdown of the purines in your body, which are found in foods like steak, organ meats, seafood, alcohol, okay? So these purines are found in those foods and are creating the uric acid within your body. There's other foods as well, but those are the most common. Uric acid normally dissolves in the blood and then passes through the kidneys to be excreted through the urine. So if you already have kidney issues, this is where you may suffer from gout as well. When this process is disrupted, the whole, going through the blood, the kidneys excreted through urine, uric acid will then build up, which forms sharp, needle-like urate crystals in the joint or the surrounding tissue, which is what's causing the pain and the inflammation and the swelling. So symptoms, they will occur suddenly, often at night. And when you have this pain, you'll notice intense joint pain, which is, again, usually in that big toe, ankles, knees, elbows, wrists, fingers. My mom actually had it a few years ago in her foot, and just even watching her try to walk was painful to watch. Pain is most severe within the first 12 hours. However, the discomfort of it can last up to weeks later. Inflammation or redness in the affected area, limited range of motion, and obviously putting pressure on it as well. So having it in a place like your big toe obviously limits walking around. Common risk factors to this include it occurs more, again, this one actually occurs more frequently in men and postmenopausal women. A diet rich in meat and seafood and alcohol or beverages that are sweetened with fruit sugar or fructose is a common risk. Obesity, again, untreated high blood pressure, and other chronic conditions such as diabetes, metabolic syndrome, heart and kidney disease. These are common risk factors that you want to pay attention to. Last, let's cover lupus. So lupus is a systemic autoimmune disease where inflammation can affect many different body systems, including your joints, your skin, kidneys, blood cells, your brain, your heart, your lungs. Lupus most likely develops from a combination of genetic and environmental factors, and the cause in most cases is actually unknown. However, triggers of it include sunlight, infections, as well as medications, certain medications. So lupus symptoms mimic other ailments, making it really difficult to diagnose, and no two cases are alike. So the most common signs include fatigue, fever, joint pain, stiffness, swelling, butterfly-shaped rashes on the face that covers the cheeks and the bridge of the nose, or rashes elsewhere on the body, skin lesions that appear to have worsened with sun exposure, so that meaning that they're photosensitive, fingers and toes that turn white or blue when they are exposed to cold or during stressful periods. So it's kind of like if you've ever seen someone with Raynaud's, where the tips of their fingers turn bright white. Also associated with shortness of breath, chest pain, dry eyes, headaches, confusion, memory loss. Okay, you can also see this. Risk factors for lupus, more common in women, very wide age range, actually common, I mean, anywhere from 15 to 45 years of age. Most common in Africa, if you have African American descent, Hispanics, as well as Asian Americans, are the most common to have these. The key to treating arthritis, just like with what we talked with autoimmune, and I think you're going to notice a trend this month as we are talking about so many different health issues that people are having. The key is healing your gut, okay? Functional medicine looks beyond the symptoms to uncover and reveal the root cause. So thankfully, research has found a link between gut health and arthritis, and most studies examining the role of gut health in, joint pain, and around autoimmune disease such as rheumatoid arthritis, psoriatic arthritis, and lupus. So conventional treatment relies largely on relieving the pain, right, with non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs, which then, unfortunately, with relieving the symptoms, you're also disrupting your gut microbiome even further. So there's, a plethora of scientific literature that connects gut health and joint pain and reveals a strong association between altered intestinal microbiomes and various types of arthritis. Okay, so we talked a lot about microbiome last week. So if you are wanting a refresher on that, please go and watch our class on autoimmune disease. So it was last Monday, whatever date it is, a week ago. Just search in the search box autoimmune and it'll pop right up. But there's some studies that have found that depleted levels of certain bacteria within your gut and an overabundance of other bacteria will actually kind of wreak havoc too. So it's finding that balance, okay, of having the right bacteria and the good bacteria within your gut. Or I mean, like the good bacteria, and there's good amounts of bad bacteria too. So I shouldn't just say good bacteria. You should have certain levels of bad bacteria. Other studies report to finding high levels of a certain bacteria that it's actually a good thing. So we'll talk a little bit about that too. But I mean, to give you a refresher, I'll talk just a little bit about gut microbiome. So the microbiome is it's a collection of microbes, which are bacteria in our ecosystem. In this instant, the ecosystem is the gut. So the human body hosts a variety of different ecosystems called microbiomes. And the gut microbiome refers to the bacteria living along the entire digestive tract, which ranges obviously from entry to exit. So most of this is actually located in your intestines. So your gut isn't just your stomach, okay? It is important to recognize your gut from your mouth all the way to your anus, okay? It goes through your entire body. So gut bacteria serves a variety of purposes. It aids in your immune system. So 80% of your immune system is in your gut, okay? And if you're seeing that these forms of arthritis are autoimmune disease, it's important then the gut connection, okay? So the gut also is there to break down the nutrients that you are absorbing and helping your body it to be dispersed and absorbed throughout your body, okay? This is where nutrition is so important because this is what is fueling your body, okay? It also helps to regulate the chemicals that communicate with the brain, which then affect things like your mood, your memory, your sleep. It also helps to regulate hormones and to keep your body properly balanced. So you have all these hormones that are also controlling your body, and your gut helps to regulate those. There's approximately 400 species of bacteria in your system that make up your gut microbiome. So did you actually know that a lack of bacterial diversity is called dysbiosis and is associated with various forms of arthritis and autoimmune diseases? So this is what the research is showing us. So while every person has a unique gut microbiome, the general population shares some commonalities. So in fact, across nations' populations, growing, populations show varying gut microbiomes. So for example, people living in the United States are notably different than the gut microbiomes of people living in China. And so much of this comes down to nutrition. So did you know that newborns inherit their microbiomes from their mothers at birth? Okay, so again, really important that if you are trying to conceive or are in conception right now, you need to recognize that, you can turn your gut microbiome over within a year. Okay, so it's not that, oh man, I've been eating like crap my entire life, or I've been on this medication my entire life. How do I, how am I going to impact my little one, right? But it's important to recognize that your offspring isn't just eating what you are eating; they are actually inheriting the microbiome that you have. So when the bad bacteria outnumber the good, this actually results in the dysbiosis. Okay, so this can occur at any stage of life and can occur suddenly or over time. So sudden imbalances are usually the result of an infection or the use of antibiotics, whereas diet, medications, alcohol use, and smoking can create an imbalance over time. Okay, so testing for this is not a standard practice for conventional medical practitioners. However, testing gut bacteria is usually one of the first steps when working with a functional medical professional. Dysbiosis is typically diagnosed by testing fecal samples. So not the most glamorous process, however, very important, very important. Common symptoms of gut dysbiosis include frequent gas, bloating, and belching, loose stools, diarrhea, constipation, acid reflux, unexplained weight gain, or difficult weight loss, irritable bowel symptoms or irritable bowel disease, anxiety, depression, frequent low mood, chronic bad breath, brain fog, joint pain, skin conditions such as acne, eczema, psoriasis, low energy, chronic fatigue, diagnosis of an autoimmune condition, maybe such as Hashimoto's or rheumatoid arthritis, allergies, food sensitivities, chronic yeast, or fungal infections. So all of this, guys, is coming from your gut. It's all stemming from your gut. So I want to talk about first ways that you can help to heal the gut. Okay, so to heal the gut, it's so necessary to regain the proper bacteria balance, as beneficial bacteria needs to be restored while problematic bacteria needs to be reduced. So when doing so, improving your diet and reducing chronic stress are key factors. Okay, so it's what you are consuming, but chronic stress is also an indicator. Stress can cause inflammation of the gastrointestinal system, and can make you actually more susceptible for infection. So it's important to find ways to reduce stress when healing the dysbiosis. So mind-body practices and exercise are also really beneficial ways to reduce stress. Again, we've done entire classes on stress reduction. Stress causes disease. So when I say that, this is the type of disease that I'm absolutely talking about. The key is to find an activity that you enjoy, right? So dance, yoga, meditation, breathing practices, going to the gym, a boot camp, working out with friends, whatever works for you. But find your way, right? I know it can be overwhelming, but really finding the way that works for you. The other key thing is avoiding added sugars, as sugars feed yeast. Okay. And we're going to also talk about next week. It also feeds a lot of other diseases and causes inflammation within your body. Sugar goes by many names. So look out for things like cane sugar, table sugar, high fructose corn syrup, brown sugar, and glucose. Okay. So when I want you to start reading your labels. It's so important, you guys. Because the food industry has just hidden all of these things. And even since I've really had to pay attention to wheat products, things like glucose are hidden as well. Or wheat, they call wheat a bunch of different things too, but if you can cut out refined sugars as well as other wheat products, this is going to be key. So artificial sweeteners such as aspartame and sucralose can also negatively influence the bacteria within your gut. So natural sweeteners should kind of also be avoided in the initial stages of gut healing. So even if you're using things like honey, try to eliminate those. Refined grains also break down into sugars. So, and then they will also feed yeast and other bacteria. So you want to stay away from those. It's recommended that 70% of the diet should come from vegetables that contain, different types of fiber, and they feed the beneficial bacteria that you need within your gut. So foods to eat more of include, lightly steamed vegetables, bone broth, healthy fats such as fatty fish, avocado, coconut oil, fermented foods such as kimchi, sauerkraut, kefir. These are all things that will help to heal your gut. Things you want to make sure that you avoid. I want to emphasize this because we have so many foods that are actually causing inflammation within our body. So chronic inflammation is one of the major causes of pain associated with arthritis. So in fact, there's a number of foods that have been found to increase the body's inflammation. So sugar, we already talked about that. If you can only the only sugars if you can cut out all sugars while you're first starting to heal your gut, but then you do not want to eat sugars that aren't attached to a fruit or a vegetable. So obviously bananas, apples, anything that's sweet, carrots, they have sugar in them, right? And we need those carbohydrates because that's what turns into energy within our body, right? So when people cut out carbs, I don't understand that. You need to consume healthy carbohydrates and healthy sugars, but it's the refined wheats and sugars that are not serving our bodies. They're actually causing so much inflammation. You also want to avoid vegetable oils found in things like mayonnaise, salad dressing, barbecue sauces, crackers, breads, potato chips, any sort of fried foods, refined flour, which usually is listed as enriched flour if you're label reading. Dairy is such a big one. You want a quick win, cut out the refined flour, dairy, and sugar, and it will change your life, right? So if even you're a pop drinker, this is like going to be a big one. Any artificial additives, saturated fats, processed meat, bacon, hot dogs, bologna, sausage, jerky, those sorts of processed meats, any trans fats, so usually found in things like margarine, baked goods like donuts, cookies, muffins, non-dairy coffee creamers, frozen pizza, frosting, avoid those. Fast food. If you're driving in, just drive out. Drive out. Yeah, just do it. And alcohol, actually. I mean, a drink is okay, but avoid regularly drinking things like beers, wines, liquors. And it's key to, consume alcohol in moderation, right? Water is your key. And I want to give you now some detoxing tips, and things that I do regularly to detox my body. So I was talking about there's a 30-day cleanse that I do twice a year. And it has nothing to do with, living off shakes. And I mean, naturally you might lose weight with it because you're cleansing the bad stuff out of your body. But I'll link up that cleanse that I actually do. I'm going to be doing it again in a few weeks. So I usually do it in the spring, kind of a spring clean. And then in the fall as well are my times, speaking of cleansing. My body was a calling. All right, so detoxing is a great way to get rid of body toxins that are responsible for the inflammation associated with things like arthritis. So poor circulation in the joints can occur when you have arthritis, which can cause the areas to become clogged with organic waste and toxins. Okay, so thankfully, drinking plenty of pure water can help to flush out the accumulated waste. So for an extra boost, try taking that lemon, whether it's your lemon essential oil or fresh lemon juice, if you don't mind the citric acid that's in the juice, and drinking that regularly. I always have a citrus oil in my water. So right now I have tangerine. I switch it up between wild orange and tangerine and lemon and grapefruit. And I always have a citrus oil in my water. In fact, regular consumption of something like lemon water can improve not just the inflammation in your body, but your digestion. It'll help detox the gallbladder, boost your liver enzymes, which are all things that you need in order to, heal and keep everything moving naturally the way it's supposed to. Okay, so lemon water is a key one, or any citrus oil in your water. Also, try to add healing teas to your daily routine. So here's a herbal tea recipe that I often use. So I will use grated ginger root or a drop of ginger essential oil, a teaspoon of turmeric, or I'll actually use turmeric essential oil, some fresh peppermint leaves, and then 2 cups of pure water, and drink that down. So boil the water, let all the ingredients steep for 5 minutes or so before drinking, and it is a really good cleanser for your system. Functional medicine programs usually incorporate a plan for detoxification, as metabolic detoxification provides natural support to facilitate the body's natural pathways involved in processing and then excreting the toxins. So a detox plans are best personalized by your functional practitioner, because everybody's a little bit different. I will queue up the one that I do, and I'll actually link up the Institute of Functional Medicine provides. There's a downloadable comprehensive guide that I'm going to link up as well, for you to have a looky at. The steps involved include reducing your food triggers, supporting your liver function, using clean eating to lessen the burden of incoming toxins, optimizing your gut, your liver, your kidney functions, with lots of phytonutrient foods, rich foods, antioxidants to support your detox, encouraging healthy elimination, balancing hormone metabolism. So some of the supplements, and I'll talk about supplements as well, but some of the ones that I use for detox. So doTERRA has three main ones that I use. So with the 30-day cleanse that I do, you get a schedule. So for the first 10 days, you are looking at breaking down and eliminating toxins. So this is where we use G-Exorcist and Zendocrine, which is for detoxing the body. Okay, so it's just, and then just really eating whole foods. And we're going to talk about foods in just a minute. But having those, then you're spending the next 10 days repopulating. So you've gotten rid of all of the bad. Then you repopulate with probiotics. So I use doTERRA's PB Assist, and then always throughout it, taking the Lifelong Vitality Vitamins, and we'll talk in a minute about these. But it's all about getting rid of the bad and then repopulating with all of the good stuff. While drinking your citrus oils and really paying attention to your nutrition. So, your functional medicine practitioner will help create even a personalized diet for you, but some examples of foods that you might want during a detox. So again, we do not need to rely on meat as a protein. So when I talk about proteins, I'm talking about things like eggs, fish, maybe halibut, salmon, tuna, miso, tofu, and even there's lots of proteins in a lot of vegetables as well. Working in different legumes, black beans, lentils, edamame, different fats and oils such as avocado, flaxseed oil, clarified butter, coconut oil, gluten-free grains. So you want to make sure that they are gluten-free. So a lot of products right now, and people are identifying with, I used to think gluten-free was going to be a fad. It is, I am now gluten intolerant 100%. My body does not deal well with gluten. So you want gluten-free grains, maybe buckwheat, quinoa, rice, and then dairy alternatives. So coconut kefir, soy yogurts, nut milks, but avoiding cow's milk, any sort of dairy. Okay, it is not serving for our bodies at all. And then really working to eliminate things within your diet. So elimination diets are short-term eating plans to eliminate foods that are causing digestive reactions. Yes, you're reacting to something in your diet. So following an elimination period, foods are gradually reintroduced one at a time in order to determine which are not tolerated well. So I actually, and I showed last week in class, my results for my food sensitivity testing that I had done, and it was done through blood work. So I knew exactly all of the foods that I eat regularly were separated into red, yellow, and green. So any of the reds and yellows, I absolutely, when I eliminated them out of my diet. And now I'm working, I've cleansed, right? I've avoided them. And now I'm slowly starting to reintroduce them into my body. Elimination diets are beneficial for really pinpointing exactly which foods are the culprits for health-related issues. So tons of benefits. I mean, reducing inflammation, supporting a healthy microbiome in your gut, increasing phytonutrients to heal the gut, reducing your toxic burden, and just promoting body awareness when it comes to food. We do not do a lot of just listening to our bodies and trusting that our bodies, our bodies are crazy smart. They've been growing people and making people and doing all of these things for thousands of years, right? And yet we think that listening to our bodies is having a symptom and then taking something to get rid of the symptom, when really, if you just support your body through it, it'll do what it needs to do, right? So there's a comprehensive guide that I'm going to link up, that will talk you through an elimination diet. So I'm putting that in the feed here. So sorry, I'm just catching up on the feed here as well. Can you just use all the oils in your tea? Yes. That tea that I talked about, Denise, you can absolutely use the peppermint oil, the turmeric oil, now that we have all of them, right? Elimination diets are recommended for 3 to 6 weeks, okay? So not any less. You need to actually get those foods out of your system. Next, and I've already talked about some of the supplements, but supplements can be really useful for returning your gut microbiome back to normal and for reducing the pain associated with arthritic conditions. So some research even suggests the use of certain supplements may enable you to lower your dosage of prescription medications. However, they should always, discuss everything. Always, there's such a beautiful blend of Eastern and Western medicine. Okay, so I'm not trying to, and my mom is a prime example of this. Okay, but we have been able to reduce her prescription medication for her arthritis through using plants. Okay, so this is, you absolutely want to, because this is just less pressure put on your kidneys and your liver and your filtering system of your body. So glucosamine is a big one. So studies report positive results for glucosamine supplementation and reducing osteoarthritis pain. So glucosamine can protect cartilage from deteriorating while helping your joints to actually move better. Okay. There's experts also believe that there's some that can keep cartilage healthy and slow down osteoarthritis progression, and may actually lower your arthritis pain and inflammation. There's another supplement called SAMe, and this naturally occurring chemical has been studied for its effects for pain management. So studies even show SAMe, SAM-E, may be as effective as arthritis treatment, as effective as the non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs. Another thing, omega-3 fatty acids. So fish oil, which contains omega-3s, can help treat rheumatoid arthritis, lupus, and other inflammatory conditions. There's a supplement called MSM. It's naturally found in fruits and vegetables and is thought to help form connective tissue in the body and may possibly reduce arthritis pain. Again, you're fueling your body anyways. Take in those fruits and vegetables. Vitamin C, this is a powerful antioxidant and really important for building connective tissue in your body. And then other enzymes. So proteolytic enzymes that you are also needing have been found to have anti-inflammatory effects because they help to improve your overall gut health and your immunity. So all of that, lifelong vitality. Lifelong vitality has been a game changer in our house. So with it, you have 3 different supplements, your alpha CRS, your E omegas, as well as your microplex. So your alpha CRS is helps to renew your cells. Okay, so we have trillions of cells in our bodies, and they are constantly turning over, right? So when I say that you can replenish your microbiome within your gut, it's done through that. All of your E omegas, this is all of those omega-3 as well as omega-6 that we talked about last week, are in that. And I so I hate taking things like Udo's oil. It's so gross. So I'm loving the omegas. And then your microplex is actually your food nutrient supplement. So our food is naturally not as dense, as it's not nutrient dense like it was 50 years ago even, right? So the reason why we now have to avoid things like wheat, certain wheats, dairy, all those things that we talked about, is because I mean, our soil's not as, our soil's different, our water's different, our air's different. We know the way our food is grown, the different chemicals that are used on it, the different hormones that are injected into our animals. There's a lot going on in our food industry that is just, it's craziness. And that's what we have to eat in order to fuel our bodies. And then we wonder why we have such high cases of autoimmune, arthritis, cancer, diabetes, heart disease, obesity. It's craziness. So if you learn nothing from this class, it is to fuel your body properly, always. Drink a ton of water, supplement properly, and you will notice a huge amount of, and really paying attention to why you are taking certain pharmaceuticals, okay? And you know, are your medications doing your body more harm than good, right? Are your side effects worse than what you're actually treating? And are you having to take one medication to counteract the side effects of another medication? Okay, so I really want you to pay attention to that. Some herbal therapies that you can use: ginger. Ginger root is really known to help improve joint pain and reduce inflammation for people with osteoarthritis and rheumatoid arthritis. Turmeric, which I mean, you can make up your own little capsules, right? So I didn't bring down veggie capsules, but veggie capsules, I get mine through doTERRA. You can get a bottle of 160 of them for like $5, and worth it to make up your own little concoction here. So they're little veggie caps, and mix in any of these plants that I'm talking about. So ginger would be one. Turmeric is another big one. I take turmeric every single day. It's the potential anti-arthritic effects of turmeric include its inhibition of joint inflammation, reduction in edema, which and or swelling, and slowed joint deterioration. Okay, so turmeric it's like frankincense. It has so many benefits. Same with copaiba. So I've been doing a lot of education on copaiba. Look it up. It has and a lot of awareness is coming around things like even CBD oil now for pain management. The thing with copaiba is it has the same therapeutic benefits as CBD, but because it comes from a tree in Brazil, it's not a drug of any form. So if you had drug testing done, CBD would show up because the THC in it, but copaiba doesn't have any of that, and it's actually 2 to 3 times more. It's stronger than CBD, and it's cheaper too. So doTERRA, actually, I put this in my capsule every morning. You can buy, really great for emotional wellness, everything, but I put it in a capsule every morning. You can also diffuse it or apply it topically as well. Frankincense is another really big one. So frankincense Frank's my man. Even just massaging this oil directly onto your painful areas will help to reduce the inflammation. So frankincense and copaiba, and another blend called Deep Blue, has been a game changer for my mom. Deep Blue also comes in a rub. So if you want to try any of this stuff, private message me. I will send you little samples of it to try. But if anybody tells me they have arthritis, I tell them frankincense, copaiba, and putting deep blue topically. So deep blue has plants like wintergreen in it. So wintergreen is a natural anti-inflammatory as well. Another plant, comfrey, can be added to topical creams, also in deep blue, to help with the pain of arthritis. Burdock root, add it to, stir fries, or you can, make a concoction, but it's a really powerful anti-inflammatory. Nettles, so stinging nettle is an amazing herb for all types of arthritis and gout. It's an anti-inflammatory, and its benefits are just numerous, right? You might use it for one thing, but it also has things like boron and calcium and magnesium and all these other things that serve your body, and particularly for arthritis will help to ease pain. And then licorice. Licorice can decrease the free radicals at the site of the inflammation and inhibit your inflammatory enzyme production, which is exactly what you're needing. Other things that you might want to try. So, I mean, there's tons of alternative and complementary treatments that you can use as well. Acupuncture. This obviously involves the insertion of a very fine needle into the skin at specific joints in the body. A lot of research done here. Acupuncture. So this uses the fingers, the knuckles, and the palms to apply pressure along the body. Different hot and cold therapies. This can obviously reduce pain and stiffness of arthritis. And so many people, I hear, people just, bound to the couch at night doing hot and cold compresses. This is a therapy, but I mean, you don't want to spend the rest of your life on the couch, right? That's not what we're aiming for here. Massage therapy. So this provides a lot of pain relief by relaxing the muscles and improving the circulation. And then mind-body therapy. So guiding imagery, meditation, visualization, hypnosis, yoga, tai chi. These are all really, really beneficial. But not moving is not going to serve your body, right? As I mentioned when I was talking about the different types of arthritis, so many of them are triggered when you are not moving. So making sure that you are moving, and this is why I say get your sweat on 20 minutes a day, right? But like move. It is the only way. You can't fake the hormones that it lets off, what it does for your lymphatic system, and for your body. So this is creating movement and doing what you need to do in order to get the everything moving. So when I go to my app that I use all the time, I looked up arthritis. So this app is called Modern Essentials. And the nice part about it is it tells me exactly what plant to use and how to use it. So when I look up arthritis, it tells me what arthritis is. I can also look up inflammation and joints, but it's all kind of summarized right here on this page. The number one plants to use are frankincense, copaiba, rosemary, marjoram, and deep blue. So rosemary and marjoram are also plants that are really known for as an anti-inflammatory. Specifically for pain, you're looking at deep blue, or wintergreen just by itself, but there's wintergreen right in deep blue. For osteoarthritis, the number one specifically for osteo, rosemary, marjoram, deep blue, and geranium to help with circulation. And for rheumatoid arthritis, marjoram, lavender, cypress, deep blue, geranium, bergamot, clove, ginger, and for all of them, lifelong vitality. A lot of these plants are in the supplements, as well as just you're getting everything that you need in order to help with circulation as well. So Darlene's asking, does turmeric help with circulation? It absolutely does. Marlene, do you add anything besides into your veggie capsule? Never tried that yet. So I make my own concoction every single morning. I add in On Guard. So On Guard is a blend of really high antioxidant plants to boost my immune system. Take that 365 days a year. I also add in frankincense. So I use frankincense as an anti-inflammatory, but I actually started it. It's an anti-cancer as well. And I have a lot of cancer in my family. So trying to take that one out. I add turmeric in it. Again, just like frankincense, ton of, you take it for one thing and you notice all these other awesome things that happen within your body. Same with copaiba. Copaiba goes in my my capsule every morning. And what else goes in my capsule? One more thing, Zendocrine. So you can buy Zendocrine, the detox blend, in a pre-made capsule. You can also buy copaiba in capsules like this as well. But I just add it into my own capsule and you just mix it all together and you're good to go. Denise, do you take the copaiba and frank in a veggie capsule? Absolutely. I do not take Deep Blue internally. doTERRA actually puts a safety cap on it, so you know that it's not serving your body taking it internally. You don't want to take wintergreen. It's more of a topical application. So I use the essential oil if I'm going to have a bath, but if I'm needing some topical relief from pain, Deep Blue rub. My husband goes through like so many tubes of this. It's his love language. He wears it like lotion. It's craziness. Hopefully this will help your fibromyalgia. Absolutely. Lori, good luck to you with that. Honestly, guys, so much of everything, whether you have a skin condition or pain or a history of chronic disease, this is why when I talk about that pyramid of health, nutrition's the foundation of what we do. Can you make them all in advance and freeze them? Freeze the capsules, if you want to clarify that. You cannot make the veggie capsules in advance, and you definitely don't want to freeze your essential oils as you heating them up or freezing them will it messes with the molecular structure. So it messes with them. So you want to keep them at room temperature, your essential oils, if I'm reading that clearly. And Marlene, no, I don't put anything other than essential oils. You can put like a coconut oil in it as well if you want to dilute it a bit. But then the key thing is making sure that you're on a probiotic too, right? So your probiotics and doTERRA's probiotics, oh, I have one in here, wonderful. So you can actually notice that it's double encapsulated, okay? So there's two capsules. There's a capsule within a capsule here. And this is really key because when I take this, obviously my stomach acid is going to break down one layer of it, and then the other layer is then absorbed throughout the rest of the gut. And we know that so much of our bacteria that we need to populate is actually in our intestines, right? Well, if your probiotic gets broken down in your stomach, then it's not making it down to the rest of the parts, right? So that is a key thing that you want to make sure that you're doing as well. So I'll repost the 30-day cleanse. Again, I highly recommend doing it at least probably twice a year to break down your gut, pull all those weeds, and then repopulate with that good solid microbiome. And I know we've spent a good chunk of this class talking about things like microbiome, but it's so important to understand your gut health and how it is associated with the vitality of your entire system, okay? So I hope that you guys got some little tidbits of information out of this. If you have any questions, please post them in the thread. And I hope that this was really helpful for you. I loved spending time with you, and any time that I get to share information that helps people to really just thrive within their bodies is a good day for me. So happy Monday, you guys. Have an awesome day. See ya.